friends, how are ya? What's up? I know I've said this so many times, but have just recently gotten married, and I know that a lot of people found my wedding planning videos very helpful. So now that it's all said and done, I thought it could be fun to do an expectation versus reality video for the actual wedding itself, because you get told so many different expectations, and it was just interesting for me to see what was true and what was different and things like that. So one expectation that a lot of people told me is that the day will fly by. And it's so weird because it did, but it didn't. It felt like 20 hours long, but 10 seconds long at the same time. And the reason for that I will get to in a minute, because it was my biggest expectation versus reality ever. But it's just so weird how the day really did fly by, but in the moment I felt like it was dragging, but I blinked and it was the end of the night. It was weird. So one thing that is interesting is if you don't know me, I'm not really like a party person. I kind of was going into the wedding thinking like, this is kind of more for everyone else than for me. Like, I don't even like really being out on a dance floor. I don't even drink. Everyone's gonna just be drinking and it sounds exhausting, but it's so weird because the reality is I didn't get to be on the dance floor much, which, like I said, I'm getting to. But when I was there, it was the most fun I had. I got to be surrounded by all my friends in those moments. Everyone was having such a fun time. We had a live band, which was awesome. Brooke was by my side, and that was actually probably one of my favorite parts of the night, which is so funny because I was like, man, I kind of wish that wasn't the norm for weddings. I wish we could like play board games and stuff. But when I was there, it was so much fun, and that's the only spot I really wanted to be. The biggest expectation versus reality. Oh man. I did not realize how much you would just get stuck in a corner. This sounds bad. I don't want this to sound like bad or complainy, but Brooke and I would be pulled somewhere for like, I don't know, a picture or whatever, and one person would start talking to us and we would look up and there was a line of like 30 people in line wanting to talk to us, which is super sweet, but we would be sitting in that corner for like an hour and a half until we had to get pulled to somewhere else, and the same thing would happen. And so we really only got to go to the dance floor for about 15 minutes all night. And I still didn't even say hi to everyone by the end of the night. I didn't say hi to a ton of people that I wanted to say hi to. Brooke, poor guy, he's a little bit more of an introvert, and he told me that he just got on autopilot, just like over and over saying, thank you so much for coming, it really means a lot. Thank you so much for coming, it really means a lot. Thank you so much for coming, it really means a lot. Over and over, and that's really how it was. I did not realize how many people there were. We had a big wedding, but we did not have as many people come as we were expecting. We had about 220 in total. And oh man, I don't know how I didn't say hi to everyone by the end of the night, because I felt like that's all I did all night was just say hi to people. Also, funny thing is, I kind of expected there to be a lot of people that I didn't really know there, because my parents invited a lot of like their friends and like people that knew me as a baby and stuff like that. I thought it was hilarious. I had probably about 10 different people come up to me and start a conversation like this. Hi, you have no idea who I am. And I was like, are you testing me? I don't know who you are, but like, how do I respond to that? So half the time I would just completely BS it and be like, of course I do, hello, thanks for coming. And the other half the time I'd just go and awkwardly stand there until they were like, my name's Susan, or whatever their name was. And I'd be like, wow, okay, hi. It was just so funny to me. Like, it's so sweet for all these people to come. It really is, but it's funny how that was the majority of my night. I really wish I had instructed like my sister or the wedding planner or my bridesmaids or something to help get me out of conversations, because we were stuck. I had two people all night that helped me get out of a line, and I really appreciate them. One was my friend's mom, Angie Brown. If you're watching this, I love you, thank you. And one was my second cousin, Susie. They each came up and they were like, I'm gonna sneak you to the dance floor now. And I was like, thank you so much. I've been stuck here for 2 hours. So that was very nice. I now know to do that for like my friends' weddings, to go up to them and be like, hey, do you want me to sneak you to the bar? Do you want me to sneak you to the dance floor? Like, do you want me to pretend like there's something important you have to do so you can like get out of this line? So that was super cool of those two people. Shout out to them. I appreciate them very much. Honestly, I wish I was just more adamant about being like, I'm gonna be on the dance floor. Come say hi to me on the dance floor. I'm gonna be where the party is. So the thing that I am most glad we did was having 15 minutes alone to have appetizers. And I expected that to be my favorite part of the night. And the reality is it was. Besides the fact that when I walked down the aisle, Brooke was crying. That was also my favorite part of the night. But the 15 minutes flew by so fast, and I did not get a chance to eat the rest of the night. I am so glad that we did that, because it was the only time we really got to talk to each other and be like, oh my gosh, we just got married. And it was the only time we really got to eat. And it's funny too, because we ate in the bridal suite, and the bridal suite had a door that didn't fully close, and people kind of kept popping in. And so I kept kind of like lying to them, being like, oh, we're doing paperwork. And I literally blockaded off the door with a stool just so we could have those 15 minutes. And I feel like those 15 minutes felt like 5 minutes, but it was so worth it. It was so great. Very glad I got to eat. Very glad we got that time together. And as I expected, it was really probably the best time of the night. Different expectation too is I expected us to kind of have a second dinner at our sweetheart table, and we sat there for about 3 minutes. Brooke ate a little more food, but I thought it was very funny. It was very obviously a sweetheart table. It was under this big arch in the middle of the room. We had moved our altar there, our rug there, all these big candles, and we had our own table, and it was all set up and everything. But by the time we got to the table, there was like 10 empty drinks on the table. People were like, oh yeah, no, this is just a table to set drinks on. I was like, I feel like this is very obviously a sweetheart table. So that was funny. That's just something funny. Another thing that I expected is I was most nervous for the ceremony, because I just didn't really know the order of things or what I was supposed to do. There's just so many traditions. When am I supposed to say things like that. Everyone did the rehearsal without me because we had to do it day of, and obviously I couldn't see Brooke. So I was very anxious about that. But the reality is our pastor is awesome, and he just naturally, it kind of comes up what you're supposed to do next, verbally. And so that was nice. I never felt like I didn't know what was going on. The only thing I did wrong is I turned to face him immediately, and he was like, actually, I'm gonna have you face each other for this part. And I was like, okay. But he corrected that in a very subtle way. It wasn't actually awkward at all, but everything else that I didn't know what to do was very clear. And so in reality, it all worked out very well. Last but not least, Brooke and I did not practice our first dance at all. We never really even dance. It's just not something that we really do. So I was really nervous for that, and I expected it to be terrible and awkward, and I expected for him to step on my dress or for my bustle to come undone or everything like that. But the reality was, it was so great, because the whole time we were just in each other's arms and kind of talking to each other, talking about like our experience so far, telling each other a ton of jokes. We probably looked like we were saying a lot of romantic things to each other, but in reality we were just saying a lot of really dumb jokes, and so we were laughing the whole time. It made for good pictures. I saw a lot of pictures we were smiling and laughing when we were just making really dumb jokes. But it was great because I actually felt like we were in our own little bubble. I didn't feel like there was 220 people staring at us. I did look up once, and there's people staring at us from the downstairs, and there's a balcony around the upstairs, and I looked up and it was just covered in people, and I was like, this is kind of intimidating. I'm just gonna go back to looking at you. When I just looked at him, everything was great. It was not awkward at all. I probably would have been better for my anxiousness if I practiced with him, but in reality we didn't need to. So I just wanted to share my experiences with you because A, it's entertaining, and B, if you're about to go through this process, it's nice to know people's real experiences instead of just building up expectations in your mind. Every wedding's gonna be different, but I thought I'd share. Thank you so much for watching. I have this goal of getting to 15,000 subscribers by my B-Day, 15K by my B-Day, which is March 19th. So if you wanna subscribe and help me get to that goal, I would love it, and I'd love to be your friend. So let's be friends, okay? Thanks for hanging out, guys. See you next time. Bye.